Sick. So I've always dreamed about having an H-brace.
So next in the track prep, we're gonna go ahead and do my tranny fluid change, and we're gonna do engine oil as well. The strut is just down, so what I'm gonna do is just literally just take off the top hat and then replace it with the camber plate, right? So now we're underneath the car, and we're gonna go ahead and see what we need to cut to fit the GC Mines H-brace to this GD subframe. So if you know, in GD cars, they have the U bracket, the bracket that goes from over there all the way across and then back. GCs don't have that. And this welded on bracket is gonna be the biggest difference. So there's gonna be 3 welds, one right there, one right there, and then one right there. So all I'm gonna do is just shave that down, and this bracket should come off, and then the H-brace will go straight from here. So there's 1 point here, and then 1 point goes to here. And then same on the other side. Bracket, 3 welds, I'm gonna cut that off, goes from here to here, all right? And just to give you an example, see why that's the bracket blocking it. It's a little too long there. So just gotta cut the bracket. It's gonna go to those subframe bolts and then to that anti-lift kit bolt. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we got the passenger side done. So that's what it looks like, should be clean. Literally just cutting the welds off, just the 3 welds, and then it came right off. And then, so this is what it looks like. So that's the bracket again. So 1, 2, and then 3 right here. And then you can see here on this side is how it's gonna look after. So you shouldn't be cutting the subframe at all. Just cut in between the subframe and the bracket. It should just be, there's 3 spot welds. All right, so go on. We're gonna go finish this side, and then we're gonna go ahead and install the H-brace. All right, so next in the track prep, we're gonna go ahead and do my tranny fluid change, and we're gonna do engine oil as well. And then after that, I'll install the Mines Motorsports H-brace. And the reason why I'm doing the tranny fluid is because the H-brace does block the drain plug a little bit. All right, so go ahead. I do the 5-speed, the JDM. I'm running the 4.44 final drive JDM 5-speed in my car right now. It takes roughly about 3.5 to 3.7 quarts. So what I do is I fill it up with these 2. So it's 1 quart, 2 quart, 3, and then usually about half, depending on how much is drained. So that is the cocktail I use. Great on the track. It's great for the street, and then this is great for the track. So a nice cocktail blend of the both. So when it does heat up, this doesn't get thinned out too much, because then it's counterweighted by a little bit thicker transmission fluid. So let's go ahead and get that drained and fill it up. Is how thick this red line shockproof is compared to the mold tool. So I'm gonna pour some of this out, and then when I finish this quart, I'll show you a clip of how I pour the mold tool, and you'll see the difference of how thick it is and how that would help with temperature. Of course, it was included in the fluid, but the thickness is very visually different. So let's go ahead and start. It's like a blueberry smoothie. Now we're gonna do the mold tool. don't know if the camera can catch it, but you can just see how different the thickness is. But yeah, that's the cocktail. Works great on track. I actually had a little bit of a fourth gear grind when I was after redlining third gear going in fourth. Anywhere on the track had a little bit of a grind, and then switching to this cocktail fixed that little grind. Now I don't have it anymore. So you know, in that case, it worked out for me. And I hope if you guys have the same problem, it works out for you. All right. We're gonna move on to motor oil next, and then we'll go on to the H brace. I go, and then for oil, with my Mushimoto oil cooler and the Killer Bee oil pan, my capacity is 6.5 quarts of oil, which really helps on the way the oil breaks down and oil temp on the track. So it's really helpful for the engine. 6.5 quarts of this, let's get it pouring. Alright, so we're starting on the top hats. So what I did, I just took the top nut off the top hat off, and then the 3 screws. And then now the strut is just down. So what I'm gonna do is just literally just take off the top hat and then replace it with the camber plate, right? So I'm gonna show, it's pretty hard to get an angle from it, but I mean, pretty self-explanatory. You're literally just taking off this top hat. It's 4 bolts, the 1 in the middle, and then the 3 strut bolts. So run the one right in the middle where you adjust the dampening. And then I will show you when it's all done and buttoned up again, alright? So you can see how the camber plate is angled. It's angled towards diagonally into the cockpit, if you will. So why we do this is because as you add negative camber, so you can see it straight up. So as you add negative camber that way, you actually add caster as well, and then you adjust the toe. So then that way you get a little bit more, you get more positive caster while you add negative camber. All right. Again, when you add the negative camber in this position, then you're going to add to positive camber, and that's what we want. And then you adjust the toe accordingly, whatever you need to be, as long as you make it drivable. So everything's pretty much buttoned up now. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. All right, and that's how it looks. Fits perfectly. All right, let's go finish the other side. All right, so here's a perfect example why I am understeering and why I need more negative camber. So this is, I set these up respectively. So this is the driver front and this is the passenger front. As you can see that the passenger front has way more inner camber wear, and then the passenger side has way more outer tie wear, but then not as much camber. Not the same, right? So what that's telling me is that this is getting way more wear on the inside, obviously, and then wear more outside. And that's a big reason why I am understeering. And I know, this is why this raises alarms, is because at T Hill West, counterclockwise, I know that we turn left a lot. And on the left-handed sweeper, I know and the hairpins, and two of the hairpins are lefty as well. And I was understeering a lot there. And even before the first left-handed hairpin, there's a kind of a left sweeper again. But anyways, so there's a lot of left turns, essentially, right? And every time you turn left, what happens? All the load goes on the passenger side. So there wasn't enough camber or nothing that wasn't keeping the tire patch, not keeping enough contact patch. And the wheel was bending in like that when there's too much load. So this is camber, right? And you want the camber to, when you get load, be able to straighten, and then you get your contact patch. But if it's like this, not enough camber, and it's putting too much load, and it starts going like that, and it starts going positive camber is going to end up what you start wearing the outside. And that's huge. So that's why now I understand on the left turns why I was pushing so much with understeering, but I kept pushing and pushing far and far out. My tires had no contact patch. I was getting, and that's losing a bunch of time, especially on the left-handed sweeper. If you can't stay on that gas or at least modulate, I had to let off just to stop pushing, losing a bunch of time there. So hopefully this camber will really help, and you can already see in the tire wear. So let's see if we could do, I'm gonna be rotating the tires, but then we'll look back at it after the track day with the new alignment, and let's see if that makes a change. All right, so we drained the transmission fluid, we refilled it, we drained the motor oil, we refilled it, we replaced the front camber plates, and now what is left is going to be the mines, or mines, how you want to pronounce it, H-brace. Pretty cool, rare, discontinued GC part that I found. So these are going to be, again, so this is going to be the subframe bolt, this is going to be 1 point. So again, this is a 4-point brace, this is going to be 1. There's going to be 2 on the back bolt of the anti-lift kit. I'm going to just undo this one. This one should be easy. It's just a nut. This will stay in place. This may move out of alignment, so let's hope we get lucky, and we're going to unbolt this one. Hopefully the little hole lines up. If it doesn't, I'm just going to unscrew this one a little bit, loosen it up, and then we'll use a pry bar to just pry it back in place. I just installed these in January, so I have a pretty good idea of how I maneuvered it to get the holes to line up. So hopefully this doesn't give me a huge headache, but let's go ahead and get this done.
So everything lined up pretty nicely. I didn't even have to loosen this up. Yeah, perfect fit. Just remember that these bolts are through and through up here, so you just gotta do it on both sides. The other side has more clearance, so just get a just get an open wrench, and then hold this with a 17 mil, and there's an open wrench on that side. Tighten it on this side. It's super stiff. I mean, you could just tell. I'm super excited to see how this if it changes anything, if you do feel it. People have told me that they do feel a difference, but you know, placebo effect. If you want to know the main big difference between like this and like a Cusco brace, is that you have the mines or the mines has this kind of reinforcements on both sides. All right, so next is to let's put the intercooler on, put this down, adjust camera so I can just make it to the alignment shop, and then the track day. Sick. So I've always dreamed about having an H-brace. This thing is super stiff, as it should be. Quality company, super quality part. Fitment was amazing. Literally super easy. I mean, other than the cutting I had to do for this, to cut off the bracket, which I'll show you obviously in the beginning of the video. This thing, I installed this thing probably in 30-40 minutes. But always the only thing is that for the bolts that go into the anti-lift kit over there, just always remember to hand thread them first, and then use the hand tool. Don't go straight to electric, even though it's a little bit tight. Because you don't want to end up stripping that, because that goes into the frame, and the last thing you want to do is strip anything that goes into the frame and have to rethread that. But anyways, yeah, that is great. I don't even know what to say. I'm amazed. I've honestly been dreaming about an H-brace since I've got this car. I've heard that it does wonders. Wonders that it does, I do not know. But we're gonna figure it out. We'll see if it makes any difference. I didn't do too many changes to this car, so it's just gonna be an alignment with the camber plates. So of course the camber plates don't really do anything, but give me the more of a camber. So I'll be running a new alignment and this H-brace, and let's see if we can get rid of that understeer at this Thunderhill West and see if we can cut down a few seconds. Last time I did this variation of CW West, I did a Thunderhill West, counterclockwise. I did a 128 flat, I believe. But then, I mean, that was like that was about a year ago. And the last time I ran west the other way around at a 127. And then the configuration that I'm doing on December 6th in 2 weeks is supposed to be 1 to 2 seconds faster. So I'm shooting for about a 126. If we can get that, I'm happy. That means a 2-second improvement with the new modifications and new driver mod. So let's go ahead and get this car aligned. And thanks so much. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe and like. And we'll see you on the next track day. Peace.